Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us. This is your angelic horoscope transmission, your weekly transmission from your weekly angels that rule over each day of the week and rule over each sign. I'm Pastor Rosemary, the Astrology Angel. Thank you for joining us. Okay, this is the week of June 28th through July 4th. That's Sunday through Saturday, and happy birthday, America. And there's a full moon on the 1st. But before we get to that, this week, the angel that came through is the angel, also a more obscure angel from the book of Enoch, Pravuil. And Pravuil is said to be an angel that is associated with realms of non-visible light, maybe in the ultraviolet portion of the spectrum of light. These types of beings. Associated with, perhaps some people associate it with extraterrestrials or interdimensional beings. But anyway, this is the angel that came through this week, and this angel is associated with wisdom. All right. Okay, I'll give you the quote from this angel, then we'll give you our interpretation, and then we'll go over each day and the attributes of each day for the sign of the zodiac and also the planet and what's going on with each day this week, so you can have a heads up. Okay, here's the quote from Pravuil. The message we got from him was, it's channeled, all those who know this frequency know that time is but a relative measure of human progress towards development of the sixth spiritual sense. What is this awareness? And how do we access the spiritual dimensions if we have not the physical organs with which to do so? These spiritual sensory organs develop as the body of light is built by daily attention to these realms. Okay, so that is this angel's message for us this week, Pravuil, and he's basically saying, and this angel has a sort of a feminine quality, and again, sort of an ultraviolet portion of the spectrum of light, and again is from a more obscure angel from the book of Enoch. Okay, now what he's basically saying here is similar to when Christ said to build your treasures in heaven rather than on earth. And what Christ is talking about is that type of thing where you're giving to the spiritual nature, giving to the body of light, because we have several bodies. You know, we have causal bodies and astral bodies and, you know, layers upon layers upon layers. And all of these bodies eventually are going to sort of diminish until there's nothing left of them, and then new bodies have to be applied. But the part of us that does not diminish, and the part of us that is immortal, is what he's trying to say here, is the spiritual part of us, what is in the highest Sephirah in Christian Kabbalah. And you know, in these realms, one really doesn't have distinction. One encompasses the all. And one can only become conscious in this realm if one actually allows everything that is a distinction to fall away. And in this realm, rather than it being a void, it is actually just filled with light. And then this, how we become distinct is actually in areas where we feel a lack and need that to be filled. So in other words, this is where the Lord Jesus Christ restricted himself in the center and allowed creation to happen within that void. And this is where a single ray of light was cast in, or a particle of light, sometimes a wave, sometimes a particle, cast in to be hurled through the worlds and create many worlds as it was cast down. Now, reality cannot happen without this particle being cast down. And this is how the various bodies are created, from the most subtle to the most coarse bodies. And each of us have these bodies. And whatever we pay attention to will, of course, develop more fully than the parts of ourselves we don't pay attention to. And there's no judgment in that. It's just all creatures are being brought to their highest potential and their highest awareness, the most acute awareness and their highest happiness. Okay, so that was how we interpret what Pravuil said here. Okay, now we're going to get to the part of this transmission where we go over the angel for each day and the message that we got for each day that is based on the astrological aspects, planetary facets. Then at the end of the transmission, we'll go over the planetary facets, and if time permits, we'll try to expound on that a little more. Some people have asked us to expound on that a little more, so we're happy to do that when time permits. Okay, so on Sunday, the 28th, we have the mighty Archangel Michael. And this is Sunday, and this is Leo. And this is, of course, the Sun. It's on June 28th. The conscious mind welcomes feelings in an attempt to understand the human condition without delving into the dangers of the shadow side of the unconscious mind. So what Michael is saying here, the mighty Archangel Michael is saying here, the guardian angel Michael, he's saying that on this day, Sunday the 28th, the mind, the objectivity of the mind will allow the subjectivity of the feelings of the human heart. But only those which are basically positive, not allowing any negative emotion, not allowing any disparaging emotions, so basically saying that emotions are allowed if they're happy on this day, but not allowed if they're unhappy. That's what he's saying, that the mind will allow emotion. You can have an emotion chip, but your emotion chip will not be allowed to have, the negative emotions like depression, those kind of things, or hatred, but only positive emotions like laughter and happiness. So that's on this day. Okay, for Monday, the 29th, June 29th, the Archangel Gabriel, who rules over Monday, the moon is the planet, rules over the sign Cancer. Okay, on this day, the message from the Archangel Gabriel is subjective and subconscious perceptions join social norms, philosophically competing with the more unique nether regions of consciousness. So what the Archangel Gabriel is saying here is that the subconscious mind on this day is sort of joining with things that are more common and competing with things that are, people, ideas, organizations, situations, ideas that are more unique, more off the beaten path, to sort of stay in with what is, to play to the lowest common denominator and compete with higher, people that have higher IQs or higher forms of talent, but bring it down to a more base level so that everybody can join in. It's sort of like when they say that television plays to a 6th grade level of intelligence or something like that, because that's going to make it more popular, because popular means there's more people. Popular has to play to a more common or a lower base, a less intelligent base. That has good and bad points, and there's no judgment. There's a time and place for everything. Okay, the Archangel Camael on the 30th. That is Tuesday, and that is Scorpio and Mars, their day-night attributes. Again, Mars is the planet. The mighty Archangel Camael, who holds a mighty sword, says, warm, fuzzy feelings give way to taking a firm, individualist stance on important social and financial issues. So, warm, fuzzy feelings on this day, Tuesday, the 30th, they're all fine and wonderful until we get to the point of, yeah, everybody do whatever you want. Who's going to pay for it? This is sort of, who's going to pay for it, and who's going to take the consequences of actions. This is, because it's when we get into consequences, and when we get into who's going to pay for it. This is when people sort of run out the door. So just stand your ground with, no one has to get overly unpleasant about what they consider to be appropriate behavior. All people need to do is say, okay, fine. Are you the one that's going to pay for that? Are you the one that's going to make sure that, to take care of the consequence? Are you the one who's going to take care of these people, or this person, or that person, or these animals, or this environment, or whatever? Who takes care of it? Who takes the responsibility? And who pays for it? Because you'll notice the people who don't want to take responsibility and don't want to pay for it, they run out the door very quickly. It's very simple to have warm, fuzzy feelings turn into firm individualist stances when we bring up money or who's going to be responsible. It clears the room out real quickly. Okay, the Archangel Raphael on Wednesday. Gemini and Virgo, and the planet is Mercury, July 1st. Okay, July 1st, the message from the divine physician, Raphael, is extreme intelligence finds ways to get around class and economic distinctions, locating obscure spiritual systems that allow provisions for all creatures. Wow. Okay, what is he talking about here? He's basically saying that people who feel like you can, like the people who have a higher class or more money, or at a higher economic status, can accomplish more or get away with more or do more, and can do things that other people are put down for, can do the same exact thing, but yet if they have money, that's okay. That kind of a thing, you can have it as long as you can pay for it. There's plenty of food as long as you can pay for it, plenty of clean water as long as you can pay for it, that kind of sentiment. On this day, Raphael is saying that extreme intelligence will find ways to allow everybody to have more fairness, or to allow everybody to have more opportunity for education, for clean water, for proper food. This is what he's saying. And proper health care. All right, the Archangel Metatron on Thursday. That's Sagittarius, Pisces, that's Jupiter, day-night. July 2nd, that's Metatron is saying here the light of God, the mighty Archangel Metatron, the voice of God, light of God. Generosity rules the mind, with philosophical viewpoints looking and seeking for ways to give. What's going on here is that when everybody understands that the highest joy is in giving, but nobody wants to receive, because nobody wants to give you the pleasure of giving. They want to have the pleasure of giving. They don't want you to have the pleasure of giving. And nobody wants to receive because they want to give, because receiving feels demeaning. And receiving it makes a person feel vulnerable. But you don't feel so vulnerable when you're giving. You feel vulnerable when you receive. People need to find ingenious ways to give. And one ingenious way to give is to receive in a elegant, generous, magnanimous, intelligent manner. And that's what he's saying here. It's on Thursday. The Earth Angel, the Archangel Uriel, on Friday the 3rd, Libra Taurus day night, that's Venus, July 3rd, relationship mores become emboldened through leadership following the spirit of the law. So basically, some of these laws that seem so arcane and archaic and that seem stupid to people or old-fashioned, there was a spirit of those laws with which they were made with a certain spirit. And these laws are emboldened when the spirit of those laws is found to be something that was meant for good, not evil. To care for people, not to harm. That's what this is saying. Okay. The Archangel Cassiel, who rules over Saturday and Aquarius, Capricorn, that's Saturn day night. The mighty Archangel Cassiel, July 4th. Restrictions to creativity due to arcane laws begin to see the light of a more intelligently generous day, allowing for newfound liberty. That's the message of Cassiel. And our addition to this, to sum it up, was we're going to quote Evelyn Beatrice Hall in her book entitled The Friends of Voltaire. In her book she writes, "I disapprove of what you say, but I will defend to the death your right to say it." That will sum up the Cassiel's message. Now we're going to go on our planetary aspects and astrological facets. We're going to try to give you a little bit of and we'll expound on it as much as we can. Okay, Sunday, the 28th. The Sun is in Cancer, and Mercury quincunx Pluto, or that's, in conjunct Pluto. Basically, when the Sun is in Cancer, people are thinking about their feelings and trying to justify and quantify and qualify their feelings and understand their feelings and bring their feelings to something more intelligent and trying to make bad feelings into good feelings and that kind of thing. With Mercury in conjunct Pluto, though, again, they don't want to go into the more shadow side or the negative side or the part of their feelings where they're in oblivion, where they feel they're in oblivion, where they get to the point where things don't turn out the way they seem. They don't want to look at that. They want to focus on the positive and not focus on the negative. The 29th, Monday, Moon in Sagittarius and Moon square Neptune and Venus trine Uranus. Okay, on the 29th, Monday, the Moon in Sagittarius, that puts people into that gives them more insight into their own subconscious mind. Also, the Moon square Neptune puts Cancer individuals in a competition with Pisces individuals. And Venus trine Uranus, that puts Libra and Taurus into an alliance with Aquarius. On the 30th, Tuesday, Mars in Cancer and Moon opposing Venus. Mars in Cancer is going to cause people to kind of use their martial will or their fighting spirit to bring their feelings into a more energetic mode. And the Moon opposing Venus causes Cancer individuals to be at odds with Libra and Taurus. On the 1st of July, Wednesday, that's Mercury in Gemini and a full moon in Sagittarius / Capricorn, and Sun trine Neptune. Okay, on the 1st, what this brings us to, Mercury in Gemini. Mercury is at home in Gemini, so the mind is really going to be taking off with imagination and also with intelligence. So you're going to have a lot of very imaginative and very quick and witty ideas. And the full moon in Sagittarius / Capricorn, that moves us from sort of being in anticipation into actually doing. And that's when things happen. Now the Sun trine Neptune, that puts Leos into an alliance with Pisces. On the 2nd, Thursday, Jupiter in Leo and Mercury sextile Uranus. Jupiter in Leo, it gives us a sort of a generosity, compassion. It's sort of like if God is serving up dinner, it's going to be a lot of everything that he thinks you love, and since he made you, he knows what you love, so you're going to be given an overabundance of everything. Okay, that's that Jupiter in Leo on Thursday the 2nd. And that's, again, the Mercury sextile Uranus. That puts Gemini and Virgo in friendship, it's a friendly attribute with Aquarius. On the 3rd, Friday, Venus in Leo and Moon sextile Saturn. Venus in Leo is a giant wave of, a giant societal wave. Again, trying to lift everybody up and maintain respect. Everybody wants to put on their best self and be respectable. And everybody, wants to allow everybody their honor and respect. And that's a good thing. And Moon sextile Saturn, that puts Cancer into a friendly aspect with Aquarius and Capricorn. And on the 4th of July, again, the happy birthday to America, Saturday, Saturn is still retrograde in Scorpio and Mercury sextile Jupiter. That's these sort of, we were talking about these archaic laws that kind of zap creativity, but with Mercury sextile Jupiter, that kind of helps that along to find again the spirit of the law. But specifically, that's Gemini and Virgo in a friendly aspect with Pisces and Sagittarius. And Pisces is the night aspect, Sagittarius the day aspect. Okay. Thank you for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. This is your weekly angelic horoscope transmission from your weekly guardian angels, covering each day of the week. I'm Pastor Rosemary, the Astrology Angel. Thank you for joining us, and join us again next week.